Mr. Speaker, I would like to yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from New York, Mr. Langworthy.
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentlewoman from Indiana for yielding the time. I rise today in support of the rule, which includes consideration of an important step to protect Americans' access to affordable and reliable internal combustion engine vehicles, gas-powered cars. Since his very first day in office, President Biden declared war on domestic energy producers, and he made it his administration's goal to weaponize the EPA and other agencies to impose a radical Green New Deal agenda on the backs of the American people. Earlier this year, unelected bureaucrats at the EPA issued a proposed rule that would tighten emission standards to make electric vehicles virtually the only option available to drivers in the United States. Now, what does this mean for the average family? They'll be forced to pay thousands of dollars more for their next car, thousands more for their at-home charging infrastructure and replacement batteries, and hundreds more a year in car insurance. Since Biden took office, my constituents have seen their energy bills go through the roof, and forcing them to charge multiple cars at home is not an option. Not just the cost. There's ample evidence that New York's energy grid is entirely unprepared to handle this. Reports have already shown that the federal government's attempts to subsidize the purchase of electric vehicles, they haven't worked. Despite $7,500 in available tax credits, hardworking Americans still consider purchasing these vehicles too costly for their family budgets. Mr. Speaker, we need a market-driven approach that puts consumer choice, affordability, and reliability first, and that means putting a stop to this administration's efforts time and again to ban, prohibit, and regulate out of existence perfectly safe and affordable products and appliances. Since 2021, we've seen the Biden administration impose new regulations through the EPA and the Department of Energy that will ultimately impact what appliances Americans can buy, whether Americans can affordably heat their homes, or now what cars they believe Americans should be driving. I strongly support this legislation, H.R. 4468, to preserve America's freedom of choice and to put a stop to this administration's efforts to push this country into an energy future that is less affordable, less reliable, and more dependent than ever on our foreign adversaries like China. And I yield back, Mr. Speaker.